The night deepens at Blackwood Lodge, the storm outside rattling the windows like an impatient spirit. The fire has burned low, casting long, flickering shadows across the walls. The four friends, Lena, Mark, Sarah, and Jake, sit in strained silence, the weight of unspoken history pressing down on them. Mark, restless and agitated, finally pushes back from the table. "I need some air," he mutters, avoiding Lena's gaze. Jake smirks and tosses him a flashlight. "Don't get lost out there," he says, but the joke lands hollow. Sarah watches Mark with wide, uneasy eyes, her fingers twisting the edge of her sweater. The moment the front door closes behind him, the atmosphere shifts, as if the house itself exhales in anticipation. An hour passes. The storm worsens. Lena checks her phone. No signal. "He should have been back by now," she says, her voice tight. Jake shrugs, feigning indifference, but there's a flicker of unease in his stance. Sarah, now visibly trembling, insists they look for him. They pull on coats and step into the howling wind, their flashlight beams cutting through the rain like feeble swords. The forest looms around them, branches clawing at the air. Then, a glint on the ground. Lena bends down and picks up Mark's phone, its screen shattered, the casing smeared with wet earth. And something darker. "This isn't right," Sarah whispers. "He wouldn't just leave this here." Jake scans the tree line, his bravado cracking. "Maybe he dropped it. Maybe he's just messing with us." But then, a sound. A low, guttural rustle in the underbrush, too deliberate to be the wind. The beam of Jake's flashlight jerks toward the noise, just in time to catch a shadow darting between the trees. Sarah gasps. Lena's breath catches, and then, silence. Mark is gone. Back inside, the lodge feels different, smaller, watchful. The fire has died, leaving the room in near darkness. "We should call the police," Sarah says, her voice thin. "And tell them what?" Jake snaps. "That our friend wandered off? They'll think he just bailed." Lena stares at Mark's broken phone, her mind racing. "Something took him," she says softly. No one argues. The scene ends with the three of them sitting in the dim glow of a single lamp, the storm raging outside, each wondering who will disappear next. The wind howls through the eaves of Blackwood Lodge like a wounded animal as the remaining three friends, Lena, Sarah, and Jake, huddle inside, the weight of Mark's disappearance pressing down on them. The rain lashes against the windows in relentless sheets, turning the glass into a distorted mirror of their fear. The electricity flickers once, twice, then dies completely, plunging the lodge into near total darkness. Only the erratic pulse of lightning illuminates the room, freezing their faces in stark, ghostly flashes. Sarah clutches a half-melted candle, her hands shaking so badly the flame trembles. "We shouldn't have come here," she whispers, her voice barely audible over the storm. Jake scoffs, but there's no real conviction behind it. He's pacing, restless, his usual bravado fraying at the edges. "It's just a storm," he mutters, but the way his eyes dart toward the windows betrays him. Lena, ever the pragmatist, tries the landline phone. Dead. Her cell phone shows no signal, the screen casting a sickly blue glow on her face. "We're cut off," she says, and the words hang in the air like a death sentence. Then, a crash from upstairs. All three freeze. The sound was too heavy to be the wind, too deliberate. Jake grabs a fire poker, his jaw set. "Stay here," he orders, but Sarah shakes her head wildly. "No, no, we're not splitting up, not after what happened to Mark." Reluctantly, they ascend the creaking staircase together, the candlelight throwing monstrous shadows on the walls. The hallway stretches before them, doors slightly ajar like mouths waiting to speak. At the far end, the door to the attic hangs open, a darkness thicker than night pooling beyond it. Jake pushes it wider, revealing a space choked with dust and forgotten things. Old trunks, yellowed newspapers, a child's rocking chair tilted at an unnatural angle, and there, on a makeshift desk, a newspaper clipping deliberately placed. Sarah reaches for it, her breath hitching as she reads aloud, "Local hiker vanishes near Blackwood Lodge. No trace found." The date is from 50 years ago. Beneath it, more clippings, all disappearances, all near this lodge, all unsolved. "This isn't a coincidence," Lena murmurs. A gust of wind slams the attic door shut behind them. They're trapped. In the sudden blackness, something scratches against the floorboards. Too close, too deliberate. Then, a whisper right beside Sarah's ear. She screams. The candle snuffs out. The darkness in the attic is absolute, a suffocating void where even the sound of their own panicked breaths seems to vanish into the thick, dusty air. Sarah's scream still echoes in their minds, though her voice has long since died in her throat. The three of them stumble backward, limbs tangling, hands clawing for the door they can no longer see. When Jake finally wrenches it open, they spill into the hallway like survivors of a shipwreck, gasping, their eyes wild with the kind of fear that doesn't fade. Sarah is the worst of them. She clutches at Lena's arm, her fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. "Did you hear it?" she rasps. "It spoke my name." Jake tries to laugh it off, but the sound is hollow, stripped of its usual arrogance. "It was the wind," he insists, though his hands won't stop shaking. "Just the damn wind." But Sarah isn't listening. Her gaze is fixed on the window at the end of the hall, where the storm lashes against the glass like something trying to get in. "It's watching us," she whispers. Lena follows her stare, and for a heartbeat, she swears she sees it too. A silhouette, tall and impossibly thin, standing motionless among the trees. Then lightning flashes, and the figure is gone. Back downstairs, Sarah refuses to sit. She paces the length of the room, her arms wrapped tight around herself as if she's holding her own body together. The others watch her, tense, waiting for the next crack to form. "We have to leave," she says suddenly. "Now, before it takes someone else." Jake scoffs. "In this storm, we'd never make it down the mountain." "Then we'll die trying." Sarah's voice cracks like ice underfoot. "Don't you get it? It's playing with us. It wanted us to find those clippings. It wanted us to know." She cuts herself off, her breath coming in short, ragged bursts. Lena steps closer, reaching for her. "Sarah, listen to me. We're going to figure this out, but you need to calm down." But Sarah jerks away. "No, you didn't hear what it said to me. You didn't feel its breath." Her words dissolve into a choked sob. She stumbles back, knocking over a lamp, and in the chaos of its shattering, something outside knocks back. 3 sharp raps against the window. Everyone freezes. Sarah's face goes slack with terror. "It's here!" Jake moves first, snatching up the fire poker again and striding toward the window. "If someone's out there messing with us, I'll—" But when he yanks back the curtain, there's nothing there. Just rain and darkness. Then the power surges back on with a hum, the sudden light blinding after so long in the dark. For a single, weightless moment, relief floods the room, until Sarah starts screaming. She's pointing at the far wall where the old grandfather clock stands. Its hands, frozen for years, now tick steadily forward, counting down to midnight. And pinned beneath its face is a photograph none of them remember seeing before. A picture of the 4 of them, taken the last time they were here, with Emily standing just behind them. Sarah's screams don't stop. Not when Lena shakes her, not when Jake slaps her across the face. Her mind has snapped like a twig, and the thing in the dark has already begun to feast on the pieces. By morning, she'll be gone too. The morning after Sarah's disappearance dawns gray and hollow, the storm having bled itself out in the night. The lodge is too quiet. No birds, no wind, just the oppressive silence of a place holding its breath. Lena sits alone in the dim parlor, her fingers tracing the edges of the photograph they found the night before. Emily's face stares back at her, half hidden behind the group, her expression unreadable. Jake is nowhere to be found. Driven by a gnawing dread, Lena begins searching the lodge methodically, room by room. The air grows heavier as she climbs the stairs to the second floor, her footsteps muffled by the thick carpet. In what might have once been a child's bedroom, Emily's bedroom, she finds a loose floorboard beneath the bed. Inside, wrapped in brittle yellowed paper, is a small leather-bound diary. The first page is dated the summer they all last came here. The handwriting is familiar, Emily's. They don't know I've seen what they did. They think I'll keep quiet. But secrets don't stay buried at Blackwood. Lena's pulse hammers in her throat as she flips through the pages, each entry more frantic than the last. Emily knew. She knew about the accident they covered up, the lies they told. And then, near the end, a final passage. If you're reading this, it's already too late. The lodge doesn't forget, it doesn't forgive, and it's hungry. The last page is torn out. A floorboard creaks behind her. Lena whirls around, clutching the diary to her chest like a shield. The room is empty, but the air is colder now, thick with the scent of damp earth and something metallic. Then she sees it. In the mirror across the room, a figure stands behind her. Not Jake, not Sarah or Mark. Emily. Her reflection is blurred at the edges, her features twisted in something between sorrow and fury. Her mouth moves, but no sound comes out, just a whisper that curls directly into Lena's mind. The lodge groans like a living thing as Lena stumbles out of Emily's bedroom, the diary's revelations clawing at her mind. She finds Jake in the study below, half drunk on a bottle of bourbon he's pulled from the crumbling remains of the lodge's liquor cabinet. His hands shake as he pours another glass, not from fear, Lena realizes, but from something far worse. Guilt. "We need to talk," she says, her voice raw. Jake's laugh is hollow. "About what? The weather? The fact that we're probably going to die here?" Lena slams the diary onto the table between them. "About Emily." For a long moment, Jake just stares at the diary, his jaw working silently. Then, with a shuddering breath, he caves. "It wasn't an accident," he admits, the words dragged out of him like shards of glass. "That night after we all went to bed, Mark and we heard her leave the lodge. She was going to tell about the car, about the guy we hit, about everything." Lena feels the room tilt. "You followed her?" Jake nods, his eyes glazed with the memory. "We just wanted to talk to her, but she ran, slipped near the cliffs. We couldn't get to her in time." A lie. Lena sees it in the way his fingers tighten around the glass. "You pushed her," she whispers. Jake doesn't deny it. The temperature in the room plummets. The fire gutters out as if smothered by an unseen hand. Somewhere above them, a door creaks open, then slams shut. Jake flinches. "It's her, isn't it?" His voice is barely human now. "She's here." Lena doesn't answer. The diary's final warning echoes in her skull. It's hungry. Then, a sound, dripping, slow, deliberate. From the hallway. Jake stands, knocking over his chair. "Who's there?" He snarls, all false bravado. No answer. Just the steady drip, drip, drip of water on wood. Except when Lena looks down, the liquid seeping beneath the door isn't water, it's red. Jake charges into the hallway, shouting curses into the dark. Lena follows just in time to see the shadows behind him twist. And something yanks him backward into the pitch-black maw of the attic staircase. His scream is cut off mid-breath. The door swings shut. Silence. All that remains is Jake's abandoned glass, still rolling on the floor where he dropped it. And the diary, lying open to a page Lena could have sworn wasn't there before. A single sentence scrawled in fresh ink. Only one left. The silence after Jake's disappearance is deafening. The lodge seems to exhale, its creaking bones settling into an eerie stillness as Lena stands frozen in the hallway, staring at the closed attic door. The only sound is her own ragged breathing and the relentless drip, drip, drip of blood seeping through the floorboards. She stumbles backward, her legs threatening to give out. She is completely alone now. Desperate for answers, or perhaps just desperate to delay the inevitable, Lena returns to Emily's diary. The words, "only one left," glare up at her, the ink still glistening wet, as though freshly written. Then, beneath it, another line appears, right before her eyes. "Find me." Her breath hitches. The diary trembles in her hands as more letters form, bleeding into the paper like invisible fingers tracing each curve. Behind the bookshelf. Lena's gaze snaps to the study's far wall, where an old oak bookshelf stands, its shelves bowed under the weight of forgotten novels. She approaches it slowly, her fingers brushing the spines, and then she feels it. A draft. There's something behind it. With a strength born of terror, she shoves the bookshelf aside, revealing a narrow door, its wood warped with age. The handle is icy to the touch, but it turns easily, as if expecting her. The room beyond is small, cramped, and filled with Emily. Her childhood drawings paper the walls. Her favorite dress hangs from a hook, still stained with mud from that night. And in the center of it all, a single chair, with a rope coiled neatly on the seat. But what makes Lena's blood run cold is the mirror on the far wall. Because in its reflection, she isn't alone. Emily stands behind her, close enough to touch. "You let them kill me," Emily murmurs, her voice not in Lena's ears, but inside her skull. "You could have stopped them. You could have told the truth." Lena tries to speak, but her throat locks around the words. She had known, hadn't she? Not the details, not the push, but she'd seen the way Jake and Mark whispered after Emily vanished. She'd chosen to look away. "You left me here," Emily continues, stepping closer in the reflection. "Now it's your turn." The rope on the chair twitches. The clock's final chime fades into silence as Lena's fingers close around the rope. Her reflection stares back at her, eyes wide, lips trembling, but the hands tightening the noose aren't hers, they're Emily's. A gasp tears from Lena's throat as the scratchy fibers press against her skin. She fights, thrashing against invisible bonds, but the air grows thick, syrupy, like the lodge itself is holding her in place. Then, a whisper against her cheek. "Look again." Lena's gaze snaps back to the mirror, and she sees it. The rope isn't around her neck. It's around Emily's. The scene fractures, memory and reality colliding. The room melts away, replaced by the cliffside from 10 years ago. Emily stands at the edge, her back to the drop, her face streaked with tears. Mark and Jake are there too, younger, terrified, their hands outstretched not to push, but to pull her back. "We didn't kill you," Lena chokes out. "You jumped." Emily's reflection smiles, sad and knowing. "I did, and you all carried the guilt anyway." The truth hits Lena like a physical blow. There was no cover-up, No murder, just a grieving girl who stepped off the edge, and friends too, shattered by grief to admit she'd wanted to go. The lodge didn't punish them for hiding a crime, it fed on their shame. The vision shatters. Lena collapses to her knees in the empty room, the rope now just dust in her hands. The lodge groans around her, its hunger unsatisfied, because absolution is the one thing it can't consume. Somewhere in the dark, Emily whispers one last thing. "Let me go." The front door creaks open. Dawn's first light spills across the threshold. Lena isn't sure if she walks out or is carried, but when she turns back, Blackwood Lodge is just a ruin, rotted, abandoned, as if it died decades ago. The rain falls in heavy sheets as the first car rolls up the gravel driveway of Blackwood Lodge, its headlights cutting through the gloom. Inside, Lena steps out, pulling her coat tighter against the chill. The lodge looms ahead, a grand but weathered structure, its dark wooden beams and tall, narrow windows giving it an almost skeletal appearance. She hesitates, staring at the building as if it might swallow her whole. A second car arrives, and Mark emerges, his confident stride belying the tension in his jaw. He and Lena lock eyes, and for a moment, the past hangs between them. Unspoken words, buried resentments. A decade ago, they were inseparable. Now, they're strangers bound by a secret. Sarah is next, her nervous energy palpable as she fidgets with her scarf, her gaze darting toward the surrounding woods. She murmurs something about the place feeling wrong, but the others brush it off. Finally, Jake pulls up, his usual smirk in place, though it doesn't quite reach his eyes. He claps Mark on the back, a forced camaraderie masking something darker. The group exchanges stilted pleasantries, the weight of their last meeting, 10 years ago, almost to the day, lingering in the air. Inside, the lodge is a mix of faded grandeur and eerie stillness. Dust motes swirl in the dim light, and the fireplace crackles, casting long shadows. As they settle in, the conversation turns awkward, veering dangerously close to the past, before Jake steers it away with a joke that falls flat. Then, as the wind howls outside, Sarah swears she hears something, a whisper just beyond the window. The others dismiss it as the storm, but when the lights flicker, even Jake's smirk falters. The scene ends with the four of them sitting in uneasy silence, the firelight dancing across their faces. The reunion has begun, but none of them yet realize that someone, or something, has been waiting for them. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.